Hello everyone, welcome to Practically. So in this particular app you will be able to study from 6th standard up to 12th standard along with the visualization and 3D models. So what are the other importance of this particular app is you are able to get lot of courses right now, that is also referred as summer program, where there are many courses running for you guys for chess, robotics, scratch card and so many more. So in order to get access to all of these courses, all you have to do is you have to enroll. That is, you might have to take the paid subscription. So for that, you just have to click on enroll, and also you are able to get the recorded videos of whatever classes that you have missed, right? So let's get started. And also I should be telling you students, many of you you will be thinking about what is the reward this time, right? So in this particular course as well, if you give the 100% attendance, that is, if you are able to give 100% attendance, you might be able to win certain amazing prizes, maybe the rewards, maybe iPads, or also 6-month free subscription as well. So let's get started. So in the last class, I had asked a question, that is nutritive cells found in seminiferous tubules are. And many of you said, ma'am, please come live. So students, this is recorded video. I hope you know. But don't worry, from the next class, I'll be coming live. I had certain personal emergencies, so that's why I couldn't take the live classes. So however, I was seeing all of your live chats and comments. So in the last class, for this particular question, Rana Rashmita had given A as right answer. What is the right answer? Right answer is supposed to be Sertoli cells. So Leydig cells are able to produce testosterone, and Sertoli cells are the cells which is referred as nutritive cells, which is found in the seminiferous tubules. And then I also saw another comment by K. Meenakshi. Please continue the class, ma'am. So first of all, this particular class was continued, that was completed. So in the next class, we will be, that is today, I can say, we will be completing today gametogenesis, both in the case of male as well as female, that is spermatogenesis and oogenesis, and also we will be studying menstrual cycle, and a small concept that was left is gland, that is axillary gland, mammary gland was left, so that I will be covering. So let's get started. So the small concept that was left over last time was mammary glands. So mammary glands is nothing but the female accessory glands, just like how we had male accessory glands like prostate gland, bulbourethral gland, also called as corpus gland, seminal vesicles, and also similarly over here as well in the case of female as well, we are able to find a gland that is referred as mammary glands. And in the case of females, I can say we have a pair of mammary gland, and mammary glands are the characteristic features of all the mammals. Okay, so that's how the mammals got the name mammals, cause of the mammary glands. Okay, so this is a glandular, mammary gland is a glandular tissue. It is made up of glandular tissue, and they have got lot of, I can say, variable amount of fat. So these glandular tissue of the mammary gland, they are divided into 15 to 20 mammary lobes. I repeat once again, mammary lobes are going to be 15 to 20. Can you see some mammary lobes over here? Yeah. So such mammary lobes are going to be there in 15 to 20 in numbers in the mammary glandular tissue. And these mammary lobes, they will be containing the cluster of cells called as alveoli. So can you see alveoli? That is over here. Yeah. So I repeat once again, the glandular tissue, no, they will be finally leading into the alveoli. Okay, alveoli is not it is not been mentioned over here, but this is nothing but the alveoli. Can you see over here? Small structure over here in the mammary lobe is nothing but the alveoli. So whatever milk that is being produced in the mammary gland will be stored in the alveoli, and this alveoli will be transporting, or they will be secreting the milk out. Okay, so in the lumen of the alveoli, which whatever milk that has been stored, they will be coming out from the alveoli by through the way that is mammary duct, followed by ampulla. Okay, so if you are able to see over here in the alveoli of the lobes, the milk that has been stored, whenever the baby is suckling, suckling the nipples, the milk will be transported via, or I can say through, mammary duct. What is duct? Duct is nothing but the tube-like structure that is connecting to the alveoli. So from this duct, they will be getting now transported to the ampulla. So ampulla is little, broader duct. Okay. So ampulla of the fallopian tube is different and this ampulla is different. The name is same cause of the structure and all, but whenever the question comes about ampulla, it doesn't mean that always it is about fallopian tube. I hope you remember, in fallopian tube as well we have seen ampulla, isthmus, junction and all these things, right? So this is the ampulla, which is nothing but just like over there we were able to see little narrow structure it was, but it was not following to the duct, right? Followed by the duct, right? So over here the thin tube-like structures will be followed by a tube-like structure, little bigger tube-like structure called as ampulla, and then all this milk will be transported through the lactiferous duct to come out of the nipples. Okay, so alveoli, which is present in the tissue, glandular tissue, will be opening into mammary tubules. So from the mammary tubules, they will be now transported to the mammary duct, and from the mammary duct they will be transported, that is several mammary duct will be joining together to form the mammary ampulla. See, ampulla is the narrow tube, but it is not more narrower than the duct. Duct is like a very thin tube, whereas ampulla is a little broader tube, but with respect to other parts it is going to be narrow. If you consider in the fallopian tube, ampulla, isthmus, no, these are the narrow tube-like structures. It is little broader than the duct. Okay, so ampulla is little broader because it will be taking all the milk from the different mammary duct, and then this is all this milk that has been now transported from the mammary ampulla. They are now connected to lactiferous duct. Okay, so from which the milk is sucked out. So this is all about mammary gland. So now let's move for gametogenesis. As the name says, gametogenesis is nothing but genesis of gametes, that is production, formation of the gametes, which is always going to happen in the primary sex organ, that is in the testis and ovary. So primary sex organ in the female is ovary, in the case of male it is testis. I hope you all remember. Okay, so gametogenesis are of two types depending on whatever organisms, or I can say whatever organ that we are able to see. So under gametogenesis we are able to see spermatogenesis and spermiation, which is going to happen in the case of males. I repeat, spermatogenesis and spermiogenesis. Okay, not spermiation, sorry. Spermatogenesis and spermiogenesis. Spermatogenesis is overall development of development and production of the sperm is called as spermatogenesis. Spermiogenesis is nothing but conversion of the immature spermatid to sperm is called as spermiogenesis. Okay, so they both will be forming the male gametogenesis. I repeat once again, male gametogenesis is of two parts, is of two stages it is going to happen. That is spermatogenesis, that is nothing but overall growth, development of the sperm, okay, under which you are able to see a small important stage, that is spermiogenesis, in which you are able to see conversion of the spermatid, which is once again haploid only, but which is not complete sperm now. So conversion of the spermatid to sperm is called as spermiogenesis. This is also haploid only. Okay, I hope you got it. Now coming to the male gametogenesis, that is oogenesis. Oogenesis is nothing but complete development, production of ovum, which is haploid, is oogenesis. Okay, so now let's understand one by one, that is starting with the spermatogenesis. So if you consider spermatogenesis, you are able to see the development, or you can say the growth is happening in the three phases, that is multiplication phase, growth phase, and maturation phase. So as the name say, in the multiplication phase, we are able to see multiplication. So multiplication is nothing but, it is nothing but mitosis. So we are able to see mitotic type of cell division in the multiplication phase. That is spermatogonium, which is diploid, will undergo mitosis to produce primary spermatocyte. So many spermatogonium is involved to produce many primary spermatocytes. So we are able to see this is a type of multiplication. They are multiplying, they are increasing in the number, right? So 1 into 2, 2, like that. So you are able to see the continuous cell division, which is mitosis, in the multiplication phase, that is doubling of the cells, which is nothing but multiplication in biology, right? So now this primary spermatocyte, which has produced by the multiplication phase, they will undergo a growth, that is they will show the first meiosis. They will show the first meiosis. I hope you all know meiosis is a reductional division, and in the first meiosis you are able to see reductional division with the production of the haploid set of chromosomes, and in the second meiosis you are able to see equational division, once again to continue to produce the haploid sets of chromosomes. Now these primary spermatocytes, they will undergo first meiosis, which is now considered, which can be referred as the growth phase, because they are able to show some growth here by showing this type of meiosis. Now these secondary spermatocyte, they will undergo second meiosis. They will undergo second meiosis, and that is nothing but referred as maturation phase. So here you are able to see the spermatids which got produced finally by the meiosis II cell division. They will be showing certain maturation by losing some of their parts to produce such tailed sperm. So tailed sperm production is going to happen in the maturation phase by losing some of their parts. That is, Golgappa type of cells you are able to see at the end of the meiosis, which is not a sperm. We cannot call it as a sperm. Even if they are having haploid set of chromosomes, they are not able to run and fuse the ovum, because they don't have tail to run, to be very quick, right? So also they don't have a piercing head to pierce the ovum. So that's why they have to show maturation to become sperm. That is referred as maturation phase, and this conversion of the spermatid to sperm is called as spermiogenesis. 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 So now we have completely understood spermatogenesis, which is a male gametogenesis, which consisting of spermatogenesis including spermiogenesis. I hope you have understood. Okay. So conversion of the spermatid into sperm is called as spermiogenesis, whereas process of production, or I can say formation of the mature female gamete is called as oogenesis. So that also we will be seeing later. Now we will be once again understanding spermatogenesis with the help of our theory. Okay. So I have already mentioned you process of formation of the sperm is called as spermatogenesis. It will be involving through three phases. In the multiplication phase, the male germ cells are also called as spermatogonia, which is diploid, will undergo mitotic division to produce large number of spermatogonia once again, right? Now this spermatogonia will be increasing their size to accumulate the nutrition cytoplasm, which is now ready for the meiotic cell division, and the spermatocytes will be produced as a primary spermatocyte. It is just going to have 46 chromosomes once again, right? So this is growth phase, and then in the maturation phase we are able to see primary spermatocyte will be completely they will undergo meiotic 1 and meiotic 2 finally to produce spermatids. Okay. Yeah. So did I tell something wrong? I guess in the table there is a few things that has not been properly mentioned, but there is a good tabular column we have over here. to understand the things better. Okay, this is but about oogenesis. That also I'm going to talk about. Okay. So what is multiplication phase? Okay, here there is a small mistake. Multiplication is nothing but production of many spermatogonia is called as multiplication. And in the growth, you are able to see conversion of we are able to see conversion of I can say primary spermatocyte which is diploid. We will be able to see conversion of them into spermatid. Okay, till here I can say it is growth phase. From here to here it is growth phase, and then conversion of the spermatid to sperm is called as maturation phase. Okay, so moving further, now let's understand about spermiogenesis in little more detail. So what is spermiogenesis? Spermiogenesis is nothing but conversion of the spermatid. I repeat, it is a maturation phase part. So spermiogenesis is conversion of the spermatid into the sperm, also called as spermatozoa. So it is not easy process to lose its some of the cytoplasmic content. So Golgi apparatus of the I can say the spermatid will be later becoming acrosome, right? And centrioles, mitochondria, all of them will be placed in a specific place inside the sperm. So certain cells like Sertoli cells are going to help the spermatid to convert into sperm. So Sertoli cells will be helping in the giving nutrition to the spermatid to become a sperm, and also they will be causing for removal of certain cytoplasmic content. Okay, so this is how you are able to see conversion of the spermatid into sperm. That is, slowly you are able to see development of the head, neck, tail, before that middle piece. Okay, so spermatid now has become sperm or spermatozoa by developing certain different parts. So after spermiogenesis, sperm will be keeping their head, they will be embedding their head in Sertoli cells so that they get entry to go out. I mean, they get open the exit button, I can say. So Sertoli cells will be acting like a watchman. So whenever the Sertoli cells will be getting the sperm, no, they will be causing for the opening of the I can say testis to release the sperm out from the testis to the epididymis for the storage. Okay, so this is how the release of the sperm is going to happen from the testis with the help of Sertoli cells, and this is called as spermiation. So we have studied about, right now we have studied about three confusing terms, that is spermatogenesis, that is growth and development, complete development growth of the sperm is spermatogenesis. Spermiogenesis is conversion of the spermatid into sperm, and spermiation is release of the sperm from the testis is sperm, right? That is, sperm will be released out from the testis by embedding themselves into the Sertoli cells. That is spermiation. Spermatogenesis, spermiogenesis, spermiation, right? So as you all know, in this process of production of the sperm from the primary spermatocyte, the cell division that is involved is meiosis. So how are we able to see complete production of the 4 sperm from the single primary spermatocyte? See, spermatogonium will be further dividing to produce more and more spermatogonium with the help of mitotic division. And then some of the spermatogonium will be becoming primary spermatocyte by the further cell division, that is mitosis. Now this primary spermatocyte, they will undergo first meiosis to produce secondary spermatocyte. Now here the number of chromosomes was 46, that is 2 set of chromosomes we are able to see now in the primary spermatocyte. After first meiosis they will be becoming N, that is haploid set of chromosomes. Just 23 chromosomes will be present over here. 23 chromosomes will be present over here. And what sort of chromosomes you are able to see? such type of chromosomes which is having two DNA molecules in the single chromosome. So here as well, two DNA molecules in the single chromosome. Here as well, here as well. But when the second meiosis is going to happen, now you are able to see equational division because reductional division already happened. 46 chromosomes has become 23. And now this 23 chromosomes, which is such chromosomes, now they will undergo second meiosis. So while they are undergoing second meiosis, you are able to see the chromatid separation. So number of chromosomes are going to remain same only in the spermatid. It is going to be like this only. 23 chromosomes only, 23 chromosomes only, even in the case of sperm as well. But what type of chromosomes now you are able to see? The chromosomes are now having only single chromatids. Okay, not two chromatids. So this is how we are able to see equational division in the meiosis 2. That is 23 chromosomes is going to remain same. That's why we call them as a equational division in the meiosis 2. So just the chromosome structure has been changed. That's it. That is DNA molecules number is being changed. That's it. So this is how spermatogenesis is going to happen. Now, let's understand about hormonal control of spermatogenesis. That is how the hormones are going to get, how hormones are going to involve in the spermatogenesis we will be understanding. So spermatogenesis will be starting at the age of puberty in the case of male individual. Male boys are able to start producing sperm, start showing the development of the sperm only during the puberty, only in the age of puberty due to the hormone of the hypothalamus called as gonadotropin releasing hormone. That is, in the puberty there will be some message that is being sent from the hypothalamus called as gonadotropin releasing hormone. Now this GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, now they will be acting upon pituitary gland. They will be acting upon anterior pituitary gland yeah, in order to secrete luteinizing hormone and FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, right? So now anterior pituitary gland has got the message from the gonadotropin releasing hormone. So now they start producing luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Now these two hormones will be now acting upon the testes in order to produce androgen, that is testosterone. So luteinizing hormone will be specifically acting upon the Leydig cells to stimulate the synthesis and the secretion of the testosterone, and this testosterone is going to help in the spermatogenesis, that is complete growth development of the sperm. Whereas follicle stimulating hormone will be acting upon the Sertoli cells in order to produce androgen binding protein and inhibin, which is going to help in spermiogenesis. Spermatogenesis is production of the spermatid from the from the spermatogonia, whereas conversion of the spermatid is going to happen with the help of ABP and inhibin, and this process called as spermiogenesis you know already. So what is the function of LH cells for the production of the testosterone for the spermatogenesis, right? What is the importance of FSH? I mean LH is spermatogenesis for the production of the testosterone. FSH importance is they will be acting among Sertoli cells to produce ABP inhibin, that is going to help in the spermiogenesis, conversion of the spermatid to sperm. So now let's quickly understand about the structure of the sperm. Sperm is having different parts like head, neck, middle piece, tail. Head, neck, middle piece, tail. Head, neck, the whole middle piece and the tail. So which is covered by the plasma membrane. The whole parts are covered by the plasma membrane. And the sperm head contains elongated haploid nucleus, just one set of chromosomes they will be having, only 23 chromosomes they will be having, okay. And the just above to the head you are able to see a cap-like structure called as acrosome, which is rich with certain enzymes that is going to help in the piercing of the ovum, and that one of the enzyme is hyaluronidase. Hyaluronidase. Hyaluronidase is the enzyme that is going to pierce the ovum, that is going to present in the acrosome. And now if you just see down to the head, no, see, up of the head is acrosome, which is having the enzymes, and then there is a neck. Just down to the neck there is a middle piece. In the middle piece you are able to see lot of mitochondria. Okay. So numerous mitochondria is going to be present, which is going to help in the motility, movement, quick movement of the sperm for the fertilization. And then the down part of the middle piece, there is a tail, which is going to help the sperm in swimming to reach the egg. And then seminal plasma that is present around the sperm will be helping in the movement of the sperm. So seminal plasma plus sperm is nothing but semen. So semen will be consisting of seminal plasma, which is rich with the fructose, calcium, mucus as well, and it is alkaline in nature, and they are also having the sperm, right? So this is all about the male gametogenesis. In detail I have explained you. Also I explained you all about the sperm as well. Now let's understand about oogenesis. Oogenesis. What is oogenesis? Oogenesis is nothing but female gametogenesis. So I thought let's not complicate it much. So I just bought one flow chart. So in the case of female, the starting of the ovum development is going to happen even before the birth of the baby. Even before the birth of the female baby, you are able to see the development, or I can say the starting of the growth of the female gamete. So oogonia will undergo several times multiplication. They will be undergoing mitosis to produce primary spermatocyte. So this oogonia to primary spermatocyte is going to happen in the female in her fetal stage. That is when she is in the embryonic stage in her mother's womb. Now you will be able to see the oogenesis getting started. That is, oogonium is converted into primary oocyte. In the case of male, this happened only during the puberty, but over here you are able to see in the fetal stage itself. Now, after the primary oocyte production, these primary oocyte will just start the first meiosis, but that meiosis will be arrested till the puberty. So now the fetal stage, that is primary oocyte that is present in the fetus. Now after complete the development of the baby, you are able to see birth of the baby, right? So in the fetal stage itself, this primary oocyte, which has underwent the first meiosis in a particular stage, no, I guess in the prophase. In the prophase 1 of the meiosis 1, the primary oocyte will be stuck. So this particular oocyte is not showing any development now. Once the primary oocyte is produced, they will start showing the prophase of the meiosis 1. So just during the prophase they will be stuck. They will be arresting themselves. They won't be further proceeding for the development. But once the baby is out of the mother, the female baby, and now that baby, once she becomes adolescent or puberty, now you are able to see continuation of the primary oocyte, okay, to become secondary oocyte. So whatever we say, no, in the menstrual cycle, especially in the ovulation, female will be releasing the egg ovum. That is nothing but it is secondary oocyte. Okay, but remember, while this primary oocyte is undergoing first meiosis, there is going to be production of only one secondary oocyte, which is haploid, which is having 23 chromosome. Another haploid cell that is produced is referred as polar body, first polar body. Now this also is going to have one set of chromosome, 23 chromosomes they will be having, but they are not the active ones, because look at their cytoplasmic content, look at their size. So why all this injustice that is the oogenesis is doing towards the polar body? Because the main intention of the body is we have to produce the biggest of biggest ovum. Okay, so for this production of biggest ovum, They also want a lot of cytoplasmic content. How they will be getting cytoplasmic content? With the help of other cells. So instead of producing equal sized secondary oocyte, female's body thinks about just production of one secondary oocyte which is having large cytoplasmic content, cytoplasmic volume. So from where exactly they have taken that cytoplasmic volume? From the polar body. So that's why polar body is small, little in size. Now once the secondary oocyte is being produced, which means first meiotic division is complete. Now we are able to see the second meiosis. But second meiosis will be just starting, okay, but once again it will be arrested unless and until the ovum gets the sperm. So only when the ovum gets the sperm, at that time only you will be able to see completion of the second meiosis. If in case if the ovum do not receive any sperm, ovum wouldn't be completing second meiosis. But if in case if the ovum receives the sperm, now you are able to see completion of the second meiosis. And while the ovum, the complete developed ovum when it is produced, right, I should have written plus sperm is over here, not over here. So once the completely developed egg is produced, no, you are also able to see production of the second polar body. So second polar body is produced only if the secondary oocyte receives the sperm. If in case if it is not receiving the sperm, you aren't able to see completion of the second meiosis, you aren't able to see production of the second polar body. So arresting of the cell division, arresting of the development of the ovum, you are able to see twice. One is in the fetal stage, another one is in the adolescence, or I can say in the adult phase. Until and unless ovum gets the sperm, till that time you are able to see arresting of the ovum. Moving further. So I hope you have understood egg will be finally released out from the ovary as a secondary oocyte, but completion of the meiosis is going to happen only when the sperm is fusing. Now let's understand about menstrual cycle, also called as there are different names for menstrual cycle. Okay, ovarian cycle is different name, ovarian cycle, also called as menstrual cycle. Yeah, so there are different phases in the ovarian cycle or menstrual cycle. So the very first part or very first stage of ovarian cycle is menstruation. So what is going to happen in menstruation? Menstruation is nothing but periods, menses, chumps. You are able to see the bleeding. So this is going to last from, it is going to happen from the first day of menstrual cycle up till third or fifth day. And during this particular stage, you are able to see shedding or cleaving of endometrial layer, innermost layer of the uterus. Okay, so all the blood vessels of the endometrium layer is going to get lost because body now got to know that it hasn't got any sperm, which means there is no embryo development, there is no pregnancy. That's why menstruation you are able to see. If in case if in the females if the menstruation is absent, it means she might be pregnant because endometrium is going to get utilized for the development, for the covering of the embryo. Okay, so during the menstruation, as you can see, you are able to see bleeding, menses, bleeding, and all the hormones will be in the stagnant. It is not produced in any, they will be produced but not in the high quantity. So once the menstruation is completely done, the very next stage that you are able to see is follicular phase, also called as proliferative phase. So what is going to happen in this proliferative phase? Let me write over here. Proliferative phase, also called as follicular phase. So in the follicular phase, you are able to see, as the name say, follicular development, that is slowly FSH and LH will be produced from the anterior pituitary gland into the ovary. Remember, this is happening in the ovary. So cause of this, follicle is also getting stimulated for the growth, and this follicle will be covering the developing ovum. Can you see? This is nothing but follicle, 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 follicle. This is ovum, this is ovum. So now follicle will be start developing from the follicular phase, from the follicular phase. So more and more and more follicles are developing around the ovum. So ovum is also developed accordingly. So slowly LH and FSH is rising, 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 right, in the follicular phase. So once the follicular phase is done, that is once there is complete development of the follicle, it means there is complete development of the ovum. Now ovum is ready to release out from the follicle, and once the ovum is released out from the follicle, the ovum will be coming out, and this phase is called as ovulation. So what is ovulation? Ovulation is nothing but release of the ovum from the completely developed follicle called as Graafian follicle. So this is a mature follicle, that is Graafian, G-R-A-A, Graafian follicle. So Graafian follicle will be releasing the ovum, and this is called as ovulation. But you are able to see the hormone will be highest in this particular phase, that is ovulation, that is LH, FSH, estrogen, progesterone, everything will be in the highest concentration or amount. Progesterone won't be in the highest concentration, I'll be telling about it later. And also, are you able to see the endometrium content or amount of the endometrial layer is getting increased, more blood vessels? Can you see? After follicle, once the follicular phase has been started, increased blood vessels you are able to see, right? So once the ovulation is done, once the ovum is going to be produced out, so it is going to last, it is going to happen just one day of the menstrual cycle. So one day, it is just one day stage, just one day, and usually that is going to happen on 15th or 14th day of the menstrual cycle, right? So after ovulation, during this particular stage, that is when the ovulation is happening, that is once the ovulation is done, the ovum is going to stay in the fallopian tube for one day, 24 hours. And on this day, if that female undergoes intercourse or mating with the male, the sperm will be able to fuse with the ovum in her fallopian tube to cause pregnancy. So now if in case if the male individual is mating with this female, there is chance of getting pregnant, that is there is chance of this female getting pregnant. Okay, so once the ovulation is done, the last stage is luteal phase. Remember, if in case if she becomes pregnant, if the ovum that is released out by the ovary from the Graafian follicle, now if it is fused with the sperm, what exactly you are able to see is you are able to see pregnancy. So if there is pregnancy, there is no continuation of the menstrual cycle, there is going to be pregnancy, that's it. But if in case if the ovum is not receiving any sperm, the female reproductive part will feel sad. So they will undergo something called as luteal phase. That is, luteal phase will be continued. Once the ovulation is done, once the ovum is released out, luteal phase will be starting. So in this particular stage, you are able to see production of the progesterone hormone from the corpus luteum. What is corpus luteum, ma'am? So the Graafian follicle which has released the ovum, no, that Graafian follicle itself, this Graafian follicle itself will be later becoming corpus luteum, that will be releasing the progesterone. But once they produced progesterone, there will be highest peak progesterone in the luteal phase. So once their work is done, they will simply degenerate, and they will also start reducing in the amount, because now corpus luteum is not anymore. This is called as luteal phase. So if in case if the body gets to know that it hasn't got any sperm, then you are able to see sudden reduction in the progesterone, okay, which will be causing for sudden reduction even in the estrogen, which will be causing for the menstruation. Now body got to know there is no pregnancy here. They waited, but there is no pregnancy. So there is sudden reduction in the estrogen progesterone. So also once the reduction of the progesterone estrogen is been done, the endometrium is also now weak and they will start shedding. They will start rupturing out from the uterus and they will be going out from the vagina. So this is what menstrual cycle is, which is of 28 days cycle. So onset of menstrual cycle in the females is called as menarche, that is going to happen in the puberty. Ending of, or I can say pausing of the menstrual cycle is called as menopause, that is going to happen in the 45 years or 50 years. Okay, after that the female is not able to release out any ovum. So this is all for today, students. I hope you have understood whatever I've explained. If you have any sort of doubt, please let me know in the comment section. So let's meet in the coming class. Bye bye.